If you have a cell phone or pager, please turn it off or set it to stun so that it vibrates. People don't know you're here at a funeral. Mine is already in my coat in the other room. So, Baruch Dayan HaEmet, we praise the Judge of Truth. And we begin with Psalm 121. Asai enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach balada. Adonai shmarcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeicha avoecha me'ata va'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. He is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul. God will guard your going and your coming, now and forever. And together let us also recite the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's a privilege to gather, to eulogize and speak about our dear Moisey. And first, let us call Leonard forward to talk about his dear father.
Я попытаюсь очень коротко рассказать о моем отце историю его жизни, не задерживая надолго. Мой отец Моисей Глейзер прожил долгую и достойную жизнь. В октябре прошлого года ему исполнилось 97 лет. Во многом его жизнь повторяла жизнь его поколения, это вполне естественно. Родился отец в маленьком местечке Черневцы в Могилев-Подольском районе Винницкой области в 1925 году. В семье было 4 детей, он был самый младший. Его мать занималась детьми, а его отец был столяром и работал в мастерской. С детства папа очень любил, и он практически все время проводил в этой мастерской, помогая дедушке. В 1941 году, когда началась война, и сперва немцы заняли это местечко, потом немцы ушли, вместо них пришли румыны, и в этом местечке Черновцы было гетто образовано, и время тяжелое, естественно, для всех. Оккупанты пытались, не то что пытались, они заставляли людей туда работать, и один из тех, кого они выдавали на работу, причем работы были постоянные, это был дедушка. Дедушка был очень болен. И поэтому папа, которому еще тогда только исполнилось 16 лет, решил помочь, и он ходил на эти работы без отца. 3 года он отработал изо дня в день. И, как он мне рассказывал, в отличие от его сверстников, которые просто боялись выйти на улицу, и они в основном сидели дома, чтобы не показываться на глаза, ему каждый день приходилось идти, иметь дело с оккупантами, и, к сожалению, был не один случай, когда его жизнь была в опасности. Слава Богу, это как-то ему удалось пройти. Когда война закончилась, он экстерно сдал экзамены за 2 класса, 9-10, которые он пропустил, естественно, из-за того, что шла война, и поступил в Киевский институт строительных материалов, который закончился в 1951 году. К этому времени он встретился с нашей мамой, она тоже закончила. И в 1953 году, как раз незадолго до моего рождения, они переехали жить в областной город Черновцы, это Украина, недалеко от границы с Румынией. Там, в общем-то, и прожили большую часть своей жизни, до того, как они уехали в 1994 году в США. Папа работал в различных строительных организациях инженером. Но я хочу сказать, что самое главное для него это была семья. Он не думал о карьере, его это не интересовало. Его интересовала только семья. С учетом того, что мама наша была врачом и работала сперва в скорой помощи, а потом участковым терапевтом, работа ей занимала очень много времени. И, честно говоря, с детства и я, и Вова, мы всегда вспоминали и помнили, что с нами был папа. Занимался с нами папа. До сих пор помню, как он меня за ручку, мне было лет 5 или 6, тянул в детский садик, Вова на руках в ясли, и вот так оно было. Для него самое важное было, что работа должна быть близко, чтобы он мог прийти днем и накормить детей, и потом забрать. В общем-то, таким он всегда всю жизнь и был. Человеком семьи, человеком плечо, который никогда много не говорил, а делал. Он всегда делал. В 1994 году родители вместе с семьей моего младшего брата переехали сюда, в Кливленд. К этому времени мама была очень тяжело больна, и, в общем-то, всю свою жизнь отец посвятил ей. Когда мама умерла в 2007 году, ему пришлось менять свою жизнь. Как он мне говорил, я стал эгоистом, он никогда не думал о себе. А тут, говорит, он должен был думать. И он очень много трудился. Он очень трудился, чтобы поддерживать свое здоровье. Он уже был в возрасте до 82 года, в общем-то, до 97. Он каждый день делал упражнения, занимался. Практически в любую погоду, может, когда очень сильный холод, он ходил гулять на улице. Вот Наташа была его эйдом в течение 16 лет, она это видела каждый день. И благодаря этому он мог себя как-то поддерживать. Причем он, в общем-то, делал все сам. Когда к нему приходили, папа, тебе помочь? Я говорю, нет, не надо, я сам. Потому что вот ты уйдешь, а кто же мне будет помогать? Ну, вот таким он был человеком. Что бы я еще хотел подчеркнуть? Что бы я еще хотел подчеркнуть? Он, я это уже говорил, в общем-то, папа был человеком, который прожил неописуемо жестокую эпоху, и он прожил ее с чувством достоинства. Он всегда, чувство человечности, это было всегда в нем. И еще одно умение – это перебороть любые трудности, которые жизнь ставила перед ним. И я думаю, что он был и останется для нас примером, как надо относиться к жизни. Относиться к людям. Он с нами останется. Извините.
Okay. So those words, which I understood some of, mostly the word ochin, because he was a very nice guy. I think he was very good. He was very this, very that. To all of those words, let us say Amen. So we gather to pay a tribute to Moisey Gleyzer. He was a great family man. He was a hard worker, and together with Nona, they created and they raised a family in a difficult environment, a very difficult environment in the former Soviet Union. Moisey was born October 10th, 1925, in the small Jewish shtetl of Chernivtsi. It's in Ukraine. And he was the youngest of 4 children. Friedel and Heike are the parents of blessed memory. Moisey was the youngest of the children, and he was the final remaining child. There are Amelia, Fyodor, Isaac, Moisey, and all of them an hour of blessed memory. And they died in birth order. We spoke about this. It's not common that you're born in this order and you die in this order, because there are so many things that can happen in life, especially when you consider the dangerous times they lived and the dangerous places they lived. He went to a Jewish school in this shtetl from grades 5 to 8, and he had an affinity for things Jewish and being a Jew. His father was a carpenter, and when the Germans came rolling in 1941, the shtetl Chernivtsi became a ghetto. And this ghetto, of course, the Jews are locked in. What do you do? Well, at the age of 15 or 16, when the Germans rolled in and made it a ghetto, Moisey, he went to work to support the family. And he did whatever he could do to support the family. After World War II, Nona Berkowitz came to Chernivtsi to visit her aunt. Now, she traveled a very far distance from Sverdlovsk to see her aunt. And this is, the Ural Mountains. You know this, but when you look on the map, I mean, it's far away. She traveled to visit her aunt, and Moisey and Nona met in about 1949. And they married in 1951. They finished college in 1952. He was a construction engineer, and she was a doctor in the emergency room. A doctor, it's a big thing. But, in Russia, the doctor's not making money. But she helped people. She was in the emergency room, and that's the most critical time for people. He was a wonderful person. She was also a wonderful person. And she helped people. So did he. And then they moved to Chernovtsi, which is not Chernivtsi, it's Chernovtsi. It's a bigger town than Chernivtsi. Chernovtsi is about 200,000 people. And they lived there from 1953 to 1994. And then they came to the USA, to the United States of America. They shared a loving and devoted marriage of 56 years at the time of Nona's death in 2007. And Moisey and Nona were blessed with family. We have 2 sons, we have 3 grandchildren, and we have 6 great-grandchildren. So Leonard and Mila, Vladimir and Emma, and the grandchildren, Julia, Sergei, and Vitaly. And Julia married to Roman, Sergei married to Yana, Vitaly married to Krista, and then the 6 great-grandchildren, Victoria, Sophia, Anastasia, Amelia, Annabelle, and Michael. Leonard and Vladimir had an emotional connection to the Yiddish language they heard their parents speaking. And as they talked about their father, Moisey, they said that he was a religious Jew. His whole life he tried to keep the Jewish holidays and traditions. And he followed Yom Kippur, and he was the source to tell everyone the dates of the upcoming Jewish holidays. You needed to know when the holiday was, you called him. He would tell you when the holidays were. He kept track of that. And he also kept the Yortzeit calendar for the family. And now Leonard said, as the oldest son, he will take over that responsibility. but you can do it too. Yeah, 'cause you're in Boston, he's in Cleveland. 2 sources, not bad. He learned how to read Hebrew to follow along with the prayers. And he did not yet know the meaning of many of the words, but he found satisfaction in being able to say the words that Jews say everywhere in the world. And when Vladimir asked, "What does this mean to you? You don't know the meanings of the words," he answered, very profound, very, very deep. He said, "God will understand my words." And you know what? It's what we believe. He was right. God hears us. God understands our words. That's why God hears the many, 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 many languages. As the boys talked about their father, it was evident that he had a strong Yiddish neshama, a strong Jewish soul. And their recollections of Moisey are a profound reminder of a story that Golda Meir had in her autobiography. Now, please allow me to share this. This happened just before Moisey and Nona met and were married. This happened in 1948. So as you know what it was like growing up as Jews constrained by the shackles of communism in the Soviet Union. Most Jews did not practice Judaism outwardly at all because Jewish education had been outlawed since the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. So Jews were Jews inside, in their hearts and in their souls. So, in 1948, Golda Meir went to the Soviet Union as the first Israeli ambassador. And no one from this brand new recreated country, Israel, in the government, no one knew how the Russian Jews would respond. Whether they lived in Moscow or Russia or they lived in Ukraine or Belarus, wherever they lived, no one knew how the Jews would respond. Because there had been no legal Jewish education since 1917. And so they thought perhaps all the Jews are gone. Maybe. So Golda opened up the Israeli embassy for tea on Friday evenings. Not to do Shabbos services, just to invite some people for tea. The Jews, if they want to come. The local Jews were already warned to stay away from the Israelis, even though they had relatives in Israel, stay away from them. And the Israelis were warned not to push too hard against the Russian Jews, so she opened for tea. On Rosh Hashanah, in the fall of 1948, by the way, your father was born during the High Holy Days in 1925. So after Rosh Hashanah is Yom Kippur, after Yom Kippur is Sukkot, and then Simchat Torah. With the Torah, we open up the Torah, we finish the Torah. He was born right the day before Simchat Torah in 1925. Right, so the Torah is in him. So as the Rosh Hashanah approached in the fall of 1948, the word spread that Golda was going to go to the Choral Synagogue, apparently a big synagogue in Moscow. And tens of thousands of Jews came to the synagogue, and they gathered outside. And she wrote in her autobiography, instead of the 2,000 Jews who usually came to synagogue on the holidays, a crowd of close to 50,000 Jews waited for us. And she said, for a minute, I could not grasp what happened or even who they were. And then it dawned on me. They had come, these Jews, these brave Jews, in order to demonstrate their kinship and to celebrate the establishment of the State of Israel. And they called out her name, Golda, Golda, and they lined up in front of the synagogue to see her and to touch her and to wave to her and to welcome her. And Golda wrote that she was so moved that she could barely speak. And as she made her way through the crowd, she said the only thing she knew in Yiddish, Gedank, Gedank, thank you, thank you. That's all she knew in Yiddish. And she said, thank you for remaining Jews. And it is similar for us, right, in the United States of America. we look at each other, and even in our sadness from the passing of Moisey, there should be a sense of gratitude that wells up in our hearts, that we thank you for remaining Jews. He was an independent man, Moisey was, until about 3.5 months ago. A tremendous blessing. He was 97. Throughout his life, he was organized and he was structured. And the boys said he did his exercises every day. Well, people much, much, much younger than him don't do their exercises every day. He did his exercises every day. He was a loving son and husband and brother and father and grandfather and great-grandfather and relative and friend. And last Thursday evening, he breathed his last. And now for your dear Moisey, there is no pain, there's no deterioration, there's just rest and wholeness and peace. His soul is returned to God and to be with the souls of his dear wife, relatives, friends, and ancestors of our people. We learn this in the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. Moisey is now at peace. And one day, all of us will join our dear loved ones in a time, it's called Olam Haba, the world to come. When the person passes away, the soul returns to God. And our belief is that one day your souls will be together with your dear loved one's souls in the world to come. The world to come is a time, not a place. This is a place. Cemetery is a place. It's in a time, Olam Haba, eternal time. We're sending along an old Haggadah and Talit with him in the casket. It's a mitzvah to escort the body of your loved one to its final resting place and also to provide respectful burial for holy books of our tradition and holy ritual objects of our tradition. We're sending along a Passover Haggadah in particular because Passover is a time when we recall and we give thanks for our people's ancient liberation from Egyptian slavery. And we are free today because of God's deliverance so many, many, many years ago. And Moisey now has been liberated from any sort of pain, any sort of deterioration. You have many, many memories of him. And we give thanks to God for this gift of long life. Even in our sadness, we are grateful for the time we were blessed with. And as you think of him, be helpful to others, be kinder to others. Write down the names of your relatives so you can remember when to light the Yortzeit candle and say Kaddish, even if you don't know the words and what the Kaddish means. They're the words that Jews have been saying for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. So we conclude with words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And let us say, Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, yimru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Moisey Gleyzer. And let us say, Amen. In a moment, we will chant the El Malei Rachamim prayer, and then we will go in procession to Zion Memorial Park, and we will say Kaddish for Moisey the first time at the grave. We will say Kaddish for him for a whole month at our congregation. We're on Lander Road in Mayfield Heights. Our services are Friday night at 7:30. Every time we do Friday night service, Shabbat service in the next month, we'll say Kaddish for Moisey. Every time the Hebrew school kids come on Wednesday afternoon, they're going to say Kaddish for Moisey. They need reps on the prayer. And every Sunday morning when we have religious school, the religious school kids are saying Kaddish for Moisey also for the whole month. Whether any family members come or not, it'll be our privilege. We will say Kaddish for him. Please rise for El Malei Rachamim. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of Moisey Gleyzer. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamitzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kezohar Ki Amazirim, Et Nishmat Moshe, Shahalach L'olamo, Ba'al Harachamim, Yastirehu B'Seta Kanafav Le'olamim, Vayitzror B'Tzror HaChaim, Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachanato, V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our dear Moshe, our dear Moisey Gleyzer. He has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. And now the funeral directors will come forward and give us directions for the procession to Zion Cemetery.
Any here who are going to serve as pallbearers, if you would come forward, let me know, please. Are you going to act as pallbearers? Gentlemen who are acting as pallbearers, I'm going to have you step up the aisle, please. You're going to go with Mr. Birch. He'll take you to where he's going to line you up. Members of the family, in just a moment, we're going to follow behind the casket. We're going to go directly out to our cars. move this way. Everyone else, please, kindly step directly to their cars. If you're going with us to the cemetery, please remember to turn on your headlights. Thank you.